Hello, folks. This is your captain speaking.
So hello, everyone. I'm Pat Schultz. I am a success coach and transformational speaker, the owner of Ready for Takeoff, where we get you ready for takeoff in the direction of your dreams. And speaking of dreams, today I'm going to introduce you to a husband and wife team who are well on their way to living their dream lifestyle. So let me introduce you to Nicole and Jon Sarrett, and they're going to tell you a little bit about the magic they are creating on their farm. So Nicole, let's start with you and tell us, how did a city girl end up being a farm girl?
Well, like most little girls, loved horses, loved the Little House on the Prairie books, went into Anne of Green Gables, The Secret Garden, all of that. And I never wanted to be the Nellie Olson. I wanted to be on the homestead or on the farm. And it never went away. And of course, you know, the area that I grew up in was very big on, well, this is the way we've always done it. So you need to do this career path, this field of study. And I did, because that's all you know. And I was never happy. I was miserable. And just when I started working on myself and really, really focusing on my dreams and what I wanted and what I desired and how I was going to get there, at some point I threw my hands in the air and left it to chance and met him. And he happened to have several acres.
I did.
How about that? You know, this is so common. We grow up and our parents encourage us to do the same things that they did because they were encouraged to do that by their parents. And as you said, you grew up, this is what you knew, you pursued a career, but deep down inside, you still wanted to be in that little house on the prairie. And so
I did.
How
did you enter the picture, Jon? Tell us about yourself.
Well, it's very interesting. I really don't know. I mean, we met on a dating app, and we both had our radius set for no greater than 50 miles. And as the crow flies, between her and I is 62, and as the rubber hits the road, it's 86.
Yeah.
So I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm thinking it has something to do with that magic with the K. And it's been great ever since. I mean, we have been working our butts off trying to develop things, trying to come up with new ideas. I bought this property in 2013 with just a little under 6 acres, front and rear pasture, runs, barns. I mean, it was a working goat and alpaca farm when I bought it. And I worked so much that I never was able to have anything take off. And then we met, and we've got horses and cows and, I mean, chickens and dogs, and, you know, it's a Little House on the Prairie thing. So it's completely fascinating, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Isn't that wonderful?
I watched so many Hallmark movies at my lowest point in my life, Christmas of 18. It really couldn't have gotten any worse for me. That was my rock bottom. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to watch all these sappy movies and just torture myself because I'm already miserable. And as I'm watching that, I'm like, you know what, that's what I want. Yeah. The city girl who, you know, leaves the high powered corporate life and the constant rushing around and the materialism and, you know, the fake people, and finds something meaningful and the love of her life in the country, and, you know, doesn't mind working on the farm. And I left healthcare, which is, you know, germs and poop. And I, you know, am now down here, and it's still dirt and poop, but it's so much more rewarding because, you know, at the end of the day, I know that I earned my meal. I really did. It's not, oh, I have X amount of dollars and I'm just going to buy what I want. You know, it's a good feeling. And to be able to go outside and to harvest what I've grown, there were so many things that were already growing naturally here. And I'm telling, when we met and we're walking around, I said, you know, you can eat that, right? He's like, no, you can't. Yes, you can. And we just started making things. And then other people were like, oh, hey, I want that. And we're like, really? And it took off.
It did. It self-launched itself, in essence. I mean,
You should take a little bit of credit for yourselves though, because, all right, there are no coincidences. You let go and you knew what you wanted. You had nurtured that dream. It's like planting a seed, all right? If you plant a seed in fertile ground, it's going to grow. All right. If you don't plant anything, the weeds are going to grow. You didn't want weeds. You wanted that Hallmark story, and you visualized it. You let go. And sure enough, the universe brought it to you in a wonderful way. In a wonderful way. So tell me about how you are developing your farm and the businesses that you have and your vision for the future, how you would like to be, you know, self-sustaining.
Well, the first thing is that we eat. That is the number one goal. There's no recycling out here. We're literally in the middle of nowhere. If we want to get anywhere remotely civilized, it's a solid 40-minute drive.
Wow.
So it's reusing, it's making do, it's looking around at what we have. And there's things in his business that I said, you know, what do you do with all this scrap? I don't know. Well, I'm going to need garden stakes and things for, you know, the peas and the beans to grow up. So literally my goal is that we are self-sustaining. We eat. If there's anything left over, absolutely, you know, sell the surplus, and we use as much as we possibly can, because I'm tired of hauling things to the scrapyard and the dump and paying for it. So I would like to, you know, be able to be somewhat off grid as much as we can. I do like indoor plumbing. Let me make that very clear. So we'll never be 100% off grid.
One caveat that neither one of us are willing to give up. So.
Right. But
there
he already has
advantages to the modern world. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
I like
I'm with
the
you
shower.
on that.
Yep.
But his business, I started helping him. It was a creative outlet for me. I was able to design things, and you know, I kind of managed the social media, and I don't know, it took off. My friend was doing an art energy online thing, and I said, yeah, sure, I'd love to, you know, and I picked up a graphite pencil and some, you know, watercolor paint brushes and paint pens, and all of a sudden I was like, holy crap, I can do this. And I started playing around with things because I think designing some of the signs, like it got that spark going, and it really lit that creative fire in me. And so I'm like, well, you know, we can eat this flower. I'm finding things all the time. There's, you know, dandelions. I can't wait. They're blooming. We're going to be making all kinds of things because you can eat all parts of the plant. And we have a lot of other edible flowers and stuff. And we have all of our seeds. And I actually have a baker out of state that contacted me and said, I have a lot of recipes that call for this specific product and I can't find it. Can you make it? Absolutely. So word of mouth and just being willing to do what somebody else isn't, because obviously there was a need for it. I inadvertently solved somebody's problem.
And you weren't afraid to take a risk. So let's backtrack a little bit here. And Jon, what is your business?
It's called Sarrett Metal Shapes. It's a CNC plasma cutting business. Designs. The designs behind us are all hers. It was established before her and I got together, but it has subsequently taken off with the new designs. It's keeping me busy. Unfortunately, not busy enough to leave my full-time job. Hopefully someday. But it's custom signs. My catchphrase, I guess, if you will, is the only limitation is your imagination. I'm sorry.
Oh, wonderful. I love that. The only limitation is your imagination. So true. So true.
If you can think it up, I can draw it out in CAD and I can cut it. I can make your thoughts a reality. So,
and what was the difference between when you had your metal creation business. Before and after Nicole, what has the difference been?
I was primarily focused on the automotive industry and, you know, Chrysler's, Ford, Chevrolet, things like that. And it was my fault. I was fairly narrow sighted on it. And when we got together, she said, well, let's try this floral thing. Let's this, and then this font, and then just started putting all of this stuff together. And, you know, as she said, cutting things out of scrap that I was throwing away. I was paying to have hauled out of here. She sold tons of Christmas ornaments. And it just, instead of that single track thinking, now it's, you know, there's multiple areas that we're jumping into. And it's not enough to get me out of my full time, but it's hopefully soon.
And just for the people who are listening, this is CNC plasma
Cutting.
All
Yep.
right. And can you show us some of the designs? Because people may not know what CNC plasma cutting looks like.
Sure. We have several back here. As a matter of fact, the one back on the wall, I don't know if I'm pointing at it right there. Can you read that and what that says?
No,
No. Okay.
not completely. That's because the sun is shining on it.
There we go.
So this is completely Nicole's design. I can't. If I stand behind it.
This is where the magic happens.
Yes.
All right.
It's a teapot, steaming teapot. It's cut and powder coated. Again, I laid it out. We discussed it. We changed a bunch of things and came up with this. So that's one. And that obviously hangs in our living or our dining room here.
Mm-hmm.
Here's
all of our big plans happen right here at the kitchen island.
right.
Everything from day one.
That is fabulous.
So this nice state of Ohio, again, this was her idea off of a floor mat or a doormat from Home Depot
Yeah.
that we saw.
Yeah. I looked at, he's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm taking a picture. And he said, of a doormat? And it was actually just a stripe. And then it said home on it. And I was like, you know, we live in Ohio, we can do this. And he's like, literally walking through Home Depot, I'm just like, wait, hold on, wheels are clicking.
Right. And here's, that's completely and totally her design. I'll have her explain it to you. I'm not.
Yes, explain us.
Okay, so with the Farmer's Almanac, it's like my favorite thing, going into the supply store and getting my Farmer's Almanac every year. There's a lot of planting by the moon. I know my grandmother used to talk about that. She grew up very rural, and she would tell me things. This woman could stick a popsicle stick in the ground and it would turn into something beautiful and or edible if she put a jelly jar over top of it. It still amazes me. So I'm lucky enough that I have a greenhouse that just got put up yesterday. So that is going to go in my greenhouse, so that this is me and I'm following, you know, the almanac, and I'm going to do what it tells me to do. And yes, that's the thinking. I'm going to grow good things. So
Fabulous.
that's my little design, and it's created, you know, it's in the files, so we can recreate it whenever we want. But a lot of the stuff I get first. I get all the prototypes. So.
Right. This one was just done today as well. This is a nice little introduction, kind of segue into Mother's Day stuff.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. So what are you doing for Mother's Day in your metalworking business first, and then we can talk about some of the other businesses you've started, and if you have anything special for Mother's Day coming up.
Well, we have a queen bee, if you will, that we're working on, or just a bee in general. Hold on, let me put this down right fast. We are working on garden gnomes, you know, the little, like the garden gnome stakes. We're also working on the garden stakes that are, you know, peas, carrots. It'll just be, well, we haven't finalized the design yet. If we're going to make them just like a thin rectangle and say carrots or something, we're still kind of developing that. So what else do we have? I'm not sure.
Thou shalt not get on my last nerve, Mom, 24/7.
And that'll be, we haven't figured out how we're going to do that and what font we're going to do yet. That's still in the early development stages. So we will have probably about 5 or 6 products here in the next week for Mother's Day that we'll roll out on our site in our Etsy store.
You know what's so incredible about this is, so John, you have this business, okay, your side hustle,
Yeah.
something you
Yeah.
really enjoy doing, okay,
Mhm.
something you really enjoy doing, right up your alley. And it was very much a guy thing, okay, automotive stuff, okay. And then you meet Nicole, and she, of course, brings a feminine touch to this and said, hey, you could be making things that would appeal to women. And Nicole, you've got great marketing savvy, and you saw the possibilities and you really expanded it.
Mhm.
How fun.
It
You
is, and
seem
it's
to
working.
feed off of each other.
Yes, and it's definitely nice to, lie in bed and sit there and talk on a Sunday morning, and our phones go ka-ching, 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 from sales. Of course that means work, but
Right.
inevitably unfortunately that's the way it works. So
Exactly.
And so Nicole, tell us about some of the businesses or that you've started while you're down
Well,
on the farm there.
We have Magic Acres Farm, which is that's the big LLC, and
And that's Magic with a K.
yeah, Magick. Yes, yes, not something you do, but something that we are, and that's more of the agricultural thing. So
Yeah.
that's what we grow, and that we can sell straight up. We can put the stand at the end of the driveway, and just have people on the honor system with our surplus. He got me into canning, so which is so much fun.
speaking of canning, these are Trinidad Scorpion pickles.
Wow.
We also do Carolina Reaper and
Ghost
peppers, and they're hot.
Yeah.
I kid you not.
But we had somebody contact us and say, what is the hottest pepper that you have? And I said, well, right now it's technically the Reaper,
Yeah.
but the Scorpion lasts longer. So, and,
More afterburn.
and she said, well, her stepson challenged her. So, and that was something that took off, the spicy dill pickle challenge, and people have ordered that. You know what? I'll take the challenge. I'll try it. I'm like, are you kidding? You people are nuts. But pepper people are their own breed.
We're weird.
Yeah. Yes, you are.
Now you said somebody contacted you. So how did this person find you to contact you?
It was somebody I was already friends with on Facebook, who knew that I was making this transition, out of, the healthcare, administrative role into, just kind of being my own person and playing around with things and all that. And so she asked, can you do this? And I'm like, well, technically, yes. So in this year,
Do
we're
anything,
growing.
anything's possible.
Right. And this year we're growing all kinds of peppers.
Lots
So yeah.
of hot peppers, exotic hot peppers
Yes.
too. Something that I don't know that they will top the Reaper, but they will be close.
Yes. So yeah, things like Death Spiral and Dragon's Tongue and but we did the same thing with the hot pickled peppers, the ones that we did have last year. We went out and just picked them, and he made what he wanted. This was his thing that he's always done. But then I would look around and I said, the florals that you can eat, we started with the lilac jelly.
Wow.
And we went into rose.
And they both taste exactly like you would think. I never have eaten a lilac, but it's precisely how they smell, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yes.
They taste how they smell,
Mhm.
or they taste the way they smell.
So, and I'm always walking around, I see a new plant. I don't assume it's a weed. Everything has a purpose, just like people, it's just, you have to discover it, and it takes a little bit longer than others, but I'm constantly researching what's already growing here. And I looked at him the other day and I said, do you know you can eat peonies? He's like, get out. And I'm like, yep.
No idea. No idea.
So yes,
I'm
his
sure there are a
price
lot of people who didn't know you could eat flowers.
Yeah.
Or as
prize
many
peony
flowers.
is going in the pot.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
So we have Magic Acres LLC, and then we're 50% partners in that. And then we have the DBA is my Sarrett Metal Shapes, and then I'm going to transition into her sole proprietorship that she DBAs under the LLC. So
So again, talking with some of my friends as they're like, oh, we just love watching you and you grow and evolve and all the things you're coming up with and these talents that you didn't even know you had, and, doing things that I always wanted to do. I wanted to be an interior designer, and that didn't happen. Just like a lot of people want to be archaeologists and paleontologists, and that doesn't happen either.
No, it didn't.
And no, sorry. And I think I made an offhand comment one time in a conversation, and I said, oh yeah, there's big farm girl magic going on over in here. And then we looked at each other and like literally, yeah, the light bulb went off.
Ding, ding. Yeah.
And I was sitting at my desk and I was just, always looking for ideas, looking at pictures, catalogs, anything I can find, any image, just to kind of get that click in my brain. And I wound up designing my own logo. I mean, I was just sketching it out, and he's like, that's you. And I said, you think? And he says, that's totally you. And I started, playing around with paints and drawing, and, oh, you're just like a little vignette of my life, just another day on the farm. And somebody said, man, that's going to make a great Oracle deck someday. And when you do that, I will be the first to pre-order. And I laughed it off, because some dreams seem really, really big and very scary when you look at the end goal. But when you break it down and you look at, well, what's the first step? Draw it. Okay, well, I'm already doing that. Okay, and then what's this step? And when you look at the steps, then it's not so bad. It becomes very doable. So I had the logo, I had the cards, which were just going to be for my personal use. So I did a little bit of a soft launch on my birthday last week, and my initial offer sold out within hours, and it also went international.
Congratulations.
So there's me with my braids.
Fabulous logo.
Yep. So that's
That
Farm
is,
Girl
a
Magic.
journal?
Yes. Yes. So this is a journal I made that I can put all of my dreams and my goals and my affirmations and, my gratitude statements, because it all starts with being so thankful for this life that I have. And then some of the cards that I made, it wound up being a deck of 42, again, for my own personal use, but it was just things that I painted. Again, I live in Ohio, so I'm going to go with what I know. What?
So Nicole, have you done any art or painting or drawing in your entire life?
Just the school, the school art classes, but I was always told, that, oh, you're not good at that. You'll never make, any money. You'll never do this. It was the 80s. It was the 80s. We were all supposed to go into business, and we were all supposed to make, what was the magic dollar amount back then? $35,000 a year, something like that. Yeah. And, the arts were not anything that was ever promoted in my personal life. And I think it just sat there and it simmered for so long that when it had a tiny little opportunity to escape, it just came bursting forth. So, but I started painting and sketching out things that I deal with here, like barn swallows. It's a big deal when they come back every year.
They protect the chickens.
Absolutely, they do, from the hawks. And, just little things that make sense to me, Oh, where's your favorite?
Yeah, right there.
This one?
Yeah.
This was a picture of me and my dream horse that John bought for me, my Palomino Midas, because he's golden.
Isn't
I
that
actually-
incredible that you had that dream of a golden Palomino and now
Yes.
you have it?
Yes, and this was a picture that John actually took of us. I didn't even know he took it. And then I painted it because, it's just made me happy.
We actually have two horses now. We have a red roan and the Palomino.
Right. But, and then my barn boots, which is, I think, my favorite pair of footwear. Because if
No
you're
more
going to,
heels.
no more heels. So just little things that I did, and it turned into a whole line. The cards, I've got coffee mug, notebooks. He even had wine glasses made for me for my birthday.
Yeah.
With your logo on it?
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
So,
But we do have, and would you want
Yes, let's see what else you have
Okay.
and how people can get a hold of you.
All right. I'm going to just take the computer over there. So bear with me. Hopefully
Sure.
nobody gets seasick.
Yeah.
So we have an entire line of candles. It's her logo and it's her stuff. Both the Spellbound, the watercolors, the Stardust, and the Vamber. That's her personal scent. Can you guys see it?
Yes. So
Okay.
these are candles with your own personal scents that you've created. And what are they called again?
So this one is Stardust.
Okay.
Carl Sagan said we were all made from star. I don't have the exact quote memorized, but I'm like, you know what? I get that.
3-wick soy candle.
And this is watercolors, obviously, because that's what I started doing, is painting. And Spellbound, because I'm still every day amazed at what we're doing and that I actually get paid to do what I love. And then Vamber is a scent that I created back in the 90s. When my daughter smelled it, her eyes got really big and she looked at me and she said, "Oh my God, Mom, that's you." And I said, "Yes, it is."
And we have,
And then we go into Magic Acres. We came up with a cleanser, a cucumber cleanser, because as I get older and my skin needs change now that I'm maturing.
where are the sprays?
The sprays are almost gone. They almost sold out.
Okay. And then we have soap.
Yep. So we're working on all these different scents. This is our lavender, which still has to cure. So that's why it's in the open air wrapping.
Beautiful soap. It smells delicious.
The whole house smells fantastic. We've got the lavender vanilla brown sugar scrubs and the lemon sugar scrub. I've been making scrubs for years. But this is my first foray into soap. I was always intimidated, but like most things, once you do it, it's actually not that scary.
Step out. So there's a bunch of stuff, and there's a whole lot more stuff in the works too, that will be coming out here very soon.
Both under Magic Acres Farm and Sarrett Metal Shapes, and then we'll be introducing the sites. We have the website for Farm Girl Magic, right?
All three of them have a .com, and all three of them have an Etsy store. So there's two ways.
Yeah, either via the website and then of course we're on Facebook and Instagram under those three.
At the conclusion of our podcast, what I would like you to do in the comments section on Facebook is put all your contact information, because I am sure people who see the podcast are going to want to review everything that you have, and it's going to get their mind thinking about your products and how they would like to use them, or if they'd like to purchase them as gifts for someone else. And so what kind of advice, if you will, would you give to people who think, oh, I could never do what they did because, what would you say to those people?
For me, I was the sole breadwinner of the family when I was working before Nicole and I obviously met. And I had a friend of mine that bought a CNC plasma table, and his business took off. And I thought, man, that's great. And he's doing what he loves, and he's quit his full-time job. Heck, he moved to Hawaii here last month from Salt Lake City. So he's really, really living the dream. And I kind of stood back and I thought, you know what, I'm going to take that step. I'm going to invest. It was a healthy initial investment, but it's paid for itself now. And my dad always used to tell me, I drag race. He said, you can't get to the final round unless you make it past the first one. So taking that first step, you'll never win the race unless you take that first step. You've got to step out. You've got to step out of yourself too. I mean, I had a fairly decent business plan. I knew nothing about CNC plasma, CAD, any, CAM motion stuff. I knew nothing about that. No experience whatsoever. I'm self-taught, and the things turn out really nice. I mean, if I have to say so myself, but you got to get out of yourself, get out of your head, and you gotta take that initial step. And if somebody is on the fence about it, get yourself a decent plan together and take that first step. So
good for you.
And I am the exact opposite. I did not have that type of support or encouragement. It was, you're just going to work. You're just going to work hard, and you're going to scrimp, and you're going to save, and you're going to pinch your pennies. You're going to live within your means, and then you die. And I'm like, no, this is not what I want to do. This is not living. This is surviving. And when we met, he said, I don't want you to just survive. I want you to thrive. I want you to grow. And I literally just took a flying leap. I have no plan. None. People are like, well, what's your business plan? What's your vision statement? What's your mission statement? What's all that? I don't know. I mean, I am a business professor's nightmare because I have absolutely none. It is a wing and a prayer. And I just put myself out there and I'm like, this is what I'm doing. I can do more. Ask me. And they are. It's literally a build it and they will come. So between the two of us, it's working, and I don't question it, but I give thanks for it every day.
Isn't that wonderful? So let's just get out there, all right? No excuses. Take that first step. Get out of your comfort zone a little bit and see what happens.
Exactly.
And
Best
you don't have to have a plan where every single step is all laid out, okay? You take the first step and see what happens.
That's it.
So before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners today?
Be unconventional.
Yeah.
You know, be you.
And do it your way.
The one thing that Jon told me before we even met, when we were still texting, is, he said, I'm just me because nobody else is.
And everybody else is taken.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Do you?
Do you?
Do you?
That's it.
That's literally how we live.
And who says you can't live and earn a living doing what you love? Doing what you love and being who you are, because nobody else can do that.
That's
No.
right.
And just the mental freedom just clears up so much space in your head for, I think when all of that left, the stress, the worry, the shoulds, should have, would have, could have, once I got rid of those, then it's like all the creativity, it's like it just started downloading, and I was coming up with ideas that I didn't even know I was capable. And now when I like create my day every morning and I say, okay, well, today we're going to, create something new. And I come off with things and I was like, wow, whoever is up there on bridge duty, pulling the strings today, thank you, because I really, really appreciate that.
Far-reaching talent, and I think we've yet to see all of it.
You've scratched the surface. Because
Yeah,
remember, you're only
amazing.
limited by your imagination.
Right.
That's correct. That is
Yes,
correct.
yes. Thank you both, Nicole and Jon, for sharing your story with us today. This is a very heartwarming and inspiring story, not just for you, but for anybody else who is listening and thinks, boy, I really would like to step out and do something. And that's why I created this podcast, because it's about people who are making things happen in their lives and the lives of others. And look at the far-reaching effects that your dream is having with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Thank you again. And don't forget to put your contact information in the comment sections so that people can get in touch with you. I'm
Very
sure
good.
they'll do that. All righty.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.